What's up guys, Alex Wallace here from Wallace Training Systems, and today I'm going to go over the best way to deadlift. First, I want to tell you why I decided the conventional deadlift was the best way to deadlift, although that's kind of unfair. If you're a power lifter, you need to do the variation of deadlift that is going to allow you to lift the maximal weight. That's your sport, moving a weight from point A to point B. You need to do the variation that's going to allow you to do that. For the general population, I just think that the conventional deadlift has a couple advantages, such as I think it's easier to teach, easier to learn, and it translates more into other barbell movements, specifically the clean as well as the pendlay row. But I don't want to get too far into that. I want to go over the technique of actually how to perform the conventional deadlift. First, the conventional deadlift is just arms outside of your legs. But where should you position your feet? I believe you should position your feet in a place where you naturally produce power. The easiest way to learn this is to just jump as high as you can. That sounds ridiculous, but that's how you naturally produce power, and this is a great place to start. Now, as you get more advanced, you may have to adjust this slightly, but you're learning the deadlift. I think the best way to do that, jump as high as you can, see where your feet are right before you actually execute that movement. Next, where should you position your feet in relation to the bar? When you're standing over the bar, you want the bar right in the middle of your foot, not in the front of your foot, right smack dab in the middle of your foot. And then your feet should be equal distance from the knurling. This is going to allow you to ensure that you're in the middle of the bar and the bar is in the middle of your foot. If the bar is too far away, it puts too much torque against your hips, it's harder to pick up. If the bar is too close, you won't get any power out of your quads when actually trying to execute the movement. So again, bar in the middle of your foot, you in the middle of the bar. Now that your feet are in the position that you want, namely the bar is in the middle of your foot, you are in the middle of the bar, and you have your feet where you maximally produce power naturally, now's the time to actually grab the bar. So what I recommend you do is bend at your waist and bend at your knees in conjunction while keeping your back flat until your arms can actually reach the bar, until your hands can reach the bar. This is again going to ensure that you are close enough to the bar that it's not super far away and putting a lot of torque on your hips, but far enough away that you can actually get power out of your quads when you're picking the bar up. How you grab the bar is very dependent on things like your experience level as well as your grip strength and your comfort level. What I recommend for beginners is to just start with a standard double overhand grip. So just palms down, palms facing towards you, you grab the bar. At some point, the limiting factor will then be your grip instead of the posterior chain, which is what the deadlift is primarily supposed to build. From there, you have a couple different options. I personally like the hook grip. I do an entire video on the hook grip. I'm gonna link it both above in this video as well as down in the description. If you haven't seen that, make sure you watch that video. It could change how you grip the bar when you're doing the deadlift. Or you could take a mixed grip. Again, you want the limiting factor of your deadlift to be the strength of your posterior chain, and I believe that you should use a double overhand grip until you have to switch grips, in which case you will continue to build strength from your deadlift. If you've liked the video so far, guys, don't forget to hit the like button. That really helps us out. That helps us with the YouTube algorithm. If you've been watching us for a while and you like our content, don't forget to subscribe. Now you're in almost the perfect position to do the conventional deadlift. But this is an overlooked point, and we do an entire video on this. Again, I'll link it in the description, and I'll put a card somewhere in the screen above that you can watch this. It's called the lifter's wedge. I believe that almost all lifters, now if you're advanced, you can kind of play with this a little bit with your thoracic vertebrae, but you should try to keep your back as flat as possible. And I believe the lifter's wedge enables you to do this. So to just give a long explanation, a very condensed version, more or less after you grab the bar, you think about tucking your lats into your back pocket. This will keep your thoracic and as a result, your lumbar vertebrae nice and neutral when you're picking up the bar. Again, guys, if you haven't seen the video that we did on the lifter's wedge, this can change the way that you deadlift or the way you pick up a barbell in general forever. In fact, if you have low back pain, that's the first thing that I think you should do if you have low back pain when deadlifting, is learn the lifter's wedge, perfect the lifter's wedge, because I do think that it makes a world of difference. One point of contention with the deadlift has to do where you should actually position your head. I think that this is a case-by-case basis. Personally, I like to look about 6 feet in front of me when I start the deadlift and keep my neck in line with the rest of my spine as I come up. With other people, I cue them to look straight ahead, again, not up, but rather straight ahead during the entire deadlift, because this seems to keep their back more neutral than if they try to have their neck follow the rest of their spine. Honestly, the setup is the hardest part, but you've set up perfectly at this point. Now all you have to do is stand up with the barbell. This is an important point though. You don't want to yank the bar off the ground. You can injure yourself. In fact, we do a video on common deadlift errors. Again, I'll link it in the description and put a card somewhere in this video. You should go back and watch that. But you want to pull the bar off of the ground. This is a good way to stay in position as well as avoid injuries. There was one last point that I was debating whether or not to include in this video, but I think it's an important point. How you lower the bar. This, I believe, is dependent on your actual goals. So if your goal is to build muscle and strength generally, I believe that you should more or less control the bar on the way down. If you're an athlete or an in-season athlete, this eccentric portion of the lift can be very hard to recover from. You're better off just either dropping the bar or lowering it with much less control. Again, that comes down to what your actual training goals are, and if it bothers your back, injury rate, things like that. But again, I think that for most of the people, you should lower it in a moderately controlled fashion. If you're an in-season athlete, I wouldn't have any qualms with you just dropping the bar. So to recap, step 1, get your feet in a position where you maximally and naturally produce power. This is gonna be usually where you jump. Step 2, reach down and grab the bar by bending at your waist and bending at your knees until you can reach the bar. How you grab this bar is also very important. Again, for beginners, I recommend a double overhand grip. As you get more advanced, you need to switch your grip. From there, you need to, this is again, step 3, lock your lats down in a lifter's wedge so you can keep your back flat the entire time. Step 4, position your head in a way that's gonna allow you to keep your spine neutral during the entire lift. And then step 5, stand up with the bar. Guys, if you like the video, don't forget to like the video. If you're interested in seeing more content like this, make sure you subscribe. I'm Alex Wallace from Wallace Training Systems, and thanks for watching.